Now, Paris has one of the largest population of black people in Europe, and the vast majority are of African heritage. French colonialism in West and North Africa has created a vibrant bond between the two continents, particularly here. But that face of Paris, those diverse parts of the city, are seldom what comes to mind when tourists arrive. Well, Jacqueline Ngo Mpii has published the City Guide to Africa in Paris, and she offers curated tours in the city focusing on African culture that weaves through it. So she joins me now. Jacqueline, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, Georgia, for having me.
So first of all, why did you see a need for, or an opening or a desire for tours focusing on Africa in Paris?
First of all, the idea was to give an explanation to the millions of tourists coming every year to Paris, the most visited city in the world, and not always wondering why there are so many black people in Paris. And I realized that there are several, initiatives, highlighting the African presence, black presence in Paris, but not really the African presence and the culture and where are the different districts. So it was one way to let them know, why there is this strong African black presence in France, but also to show them what African descent have best to offer to them, and that they can see, and bring to their home, when they come to Paris. One of the reasons is, of course, shopping. So that was the two main reasons.
And so where do you take people? What are you showing them?
So we have one tour in the 18th district of La Goutte d'Or, and basically we take them first to learn more about the history of the African presence in that neighborhood, and we bring them to see the different fashion designer, the youngest fashion designer scene, Afro-Parisian, such as one that I'm wearing right now, and also to see the different fabrics with African textile culture that has the continent, and we also take them to discover the different ingredients for African food.
And is there anything different about the African community or African heritage community in Paris than the community of any other foreign demographic living in the city?
If there is something different.
Is there anything specific or unique about the African demographic in Paris compared to any other foreign communities living in the city?
I think that something that makes it very specific is that the African presence in France, it's for many centuries. For example, there is one exhibition actually at one famous museum that shows you that we have had several people coming from the Caribbean and from the continent also who started to live in Paris more before the African independencies. So it's really interesting to see where those people were coming, living, having jobs, having high position, and that those prints, you can find them on some facade, on some metro stop station, and also on some street signs.
So they're part of the city's history.
They're part of the city's history.
And just very quickly, you also are using this as a foundation to start training guides in Africa. Just very quickly tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically the company, one of her mission is also to educate, and we engage some of our skills to try now to give back and to train to the youth. For example, how it's possible to tell your story in a city where probably it can be controversial, but there is a way also to prove that there is a sustainable economic model for that, and without, there is a way now we launch a training program to train the youth people of the continent, but also in France, to build itineraries based on specific tours.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline, for coming in. So Africa in Paris, if you want to see another side of the City of Life, do reach out to her.